What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. We got another spooky season video, and I literally just did this like a day or two ago before I'm posting this, because basically Motor Brush, I saw earlier last week that they were having basically a contest like for a theme, a makeup theme, and you just like create your own like look or whatever, and you could win $100 and some brushes. Mind you, I already won that giveaway earlier this year, and they send me brushes all the fucking time. But I just love a challenge. I love, coming up with a theme, or like I love going off of a theme and like, creating a look, because sometimes I just need some inspiration. Like, I feel like a lot of my looks just come off the dome, but to actually like have like a actual like concept I have to go based off of, I love to see. But anyways, at first this look was gonna be all green because it's called Enchanted Glam, and I was really feeling like the green. I was gonna do something kind of like foresty, I feel like. But when I was like thinking about the look like right before I actually started, I was like, you know what would be cool? Actually doing green, purple, and blue. Those are cool colors, by the way. I'm teaching my kids that in art. But yeah, and I really love how this look came out. Like, sometimes when it comes to my makeup looks, I have things planned out. But sometimes, I'll like start trying something. I'm like, you know what? I want to switch it up. And sometimes when I switch it up, I create some of my favorite looks. And this is one of my favorite like recent like spooky season looks. So definitely stay tuned. Okay, so if you're new or if you just haven't like watched any of my face paint looks, whenever I do a face paint look, I basically create the same like or use the same techniques that I do for my normal makeup looks and just apply it just using different colors. So first thing I normally do when I do my makeup is do my brows. So I use one of the liquid eyeshadows from REM Beauty. I've had it for like almost a year now, but it's called I think Science Lab or something like that. So that's what I use for my brows. And then now I'm taking the Trixie Cosmetics, one of the play pigments, and I basically use it to clean up underneath my eye. And then now I'm basically just doing an eyeshadow base, so I just use the same color all throughout, and I'm trying to make sure my base is as even as possible before I even touch any powder. Because if you know, like if your eyeshadow base is not even, and you see me adding some more because that one little area needed a little bit more pigment, but if your base is not even, it creates like just so many unnecessary issues when you're actually trying to blend shadows. So yeah, I take my time with this if I can. Sometimes if I'm in a rush, I'll do like whatever, but when I'm doing my makeup looks and I have time to actually sit down and do my makeup looks, I take my fucking time, you feel me? Because I'm trying to create the best like outlook or the base like product. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to create the best product in general. But anyways, once I set my eyeshadow base with the translucent powder from Milk Cosmetics, I use the She's Alive powder, and I'm basically almost out. I've been trying to like use this powder up for a good little minute. I've been trying to use up a lot of my makeup products just because I want to go ahead and get some things out the way. And that way, like, when it comes to like, Black Friday, like that time of the year, I'm probably gonna like restock on some new I'm probably gonna restock on some of my favorite like products. Like I know I need to get the one size turn up the base foundation, because literally when I tell you I have to take the top off just to like apply it to my face, because that's like literally the least, or oh my gosh, sometimes I just be getting tongue tied, but that's like the least or oh my god, bro, that's like barely anything in there. There you go. But anyways, yeah, I'm using the Beauty Bay. This is the berries palette I use for the purple part. I've been trying to use my Beauty Bay palettes a lot more, like, but I also try to switch up. Like when it comes to me and my makeup, like I try not to use the same products constantly, just because like or unless I'm trying to like just use up the product. But I like to switch it up, that way I can like really just get the best use out of my products, because there's some products that I haven't touched in a little bit, so I try to make sure I incorporate them somehow, some way. But I'm actually going in with the Beauty Bay. This is the Bright Mattes palette, because I want to do blue for like the outer part, and I didn't want to use my other blue palettes that I normally use, so this is why you see me grabbing this one. And it was kind of hard for like the blue to pop up, I guess, just because of the green eyeshadow base. But what I did to try and make it like pop up a little bit more, I basically just apply it, like tap it on instead of blending it all the way. And I feel like I did a decent job. I probably could have done better, but whatever. But anyways, I'm going back in with that purple just to make sure that purple and the blue blend is a little bit more seamless. And I want the purple to pop out a little bit more, so I'm going back in just to build that pigment up. Sometimes when you're doing an eyeshadow, sometimes you'll go through different layers, like it might take you a little second, but honestly you just gotta do what you gotta do. And when it comes to me and my makeup style, I feel like my makeup is very heavily inspired by me doing face paint growing up, when I was younger. And then like the makeup looks I did like in high school and like my freshman year of college, some of those were some of my favorite makeup looks. I was like, drawing stuff on my lips. I was like creating these little illustrations on my eye area, and it's really just fun to just like take a step back and look and see how far I've come. Because even when I think about this school or this year, I almost said school year, but when I think about this year in general, like I was looking back at some makeup pictures earlier because I had I was trying to show somebody some of my makeup looks. But anyways, like when I was going back, I was like, dang, like I've grown a lot when it comes to my makeup style, and that comes from me literally putting in hours of this like on a weekend. Like I will normally do like 1 or 2 looks every single weekend, and since it's been spooky season, there have been weekends where I've done like 3 looks. I know a couple weeks ago I did 5 looks in one weekend, and that was crazy. But I'm just very committed to my craft. Like I really truly would love to do like special effects makeup or just makeup as a career, maybe for like TV or film or something like in the Mid-South, in the Memphis area. So in order for me to even feel like that confident to do stuff like that, I have to practice, and I'm gonna practice on myself. So, I'm claiming that, within the next year, I can step into that lane, because I would absolutely love to be able to step into that lane and really just like, create some fun looks and stuff, because makeup is one of my passions. I'll just be honest with you. Like, I love makeup so much. I try to post different videos, so I'm not posting makeup videos 24/7, but makeup has always just been something for me to like basically just express myself. Growing up, especially, I was kind of molded into what other people wanted me to be. So sometimes like me doing my makeup was really just me being able to be me for a little second. So it's something that I hold dear to my heart. I absolutely love it, and I'm excited to see where I go from here. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little second. But anyways, for my shimmer, I love the Lightwork Volume 6 palette from the Nessa Myers Beauty, and I know she's dropping one this week, and I would love to get it. But them palettes, I'm not gonna lie, that palette costs like $100. Well, the old one costs like $100. So, we're gonna have to probably wait for that. I'm gonna try to get somebody to get that for me for like a Christmas present or some shit. But yeah, I wanted to do a different type of cut crease, because, normally I do my like half cut creases. Same thing. But I was like, you know what? Let's play with something fun. So that's why you see me kind of like wing out my cut crease lower, like underneath it. And now I'm just basically creating a green liner. And then this is basically going to be a base, because I want to put some glitter on there. I was really just trying out some stuff, because I was really inspired by some of my older makeup looks I had looked at the other day, like from like a couple years ago. And I was like, oh, I haven't done a look like that in a little second. But yeah, I'm using this liner brush from Question Beauty, and I'm using the Color Fix in the Matcha from the Nessa Myers Beauty. You can use this. You can use the Play Pigments from Trixie Cosmetics. You can use a liquid eyeshadow. It's really just do whatever you have, or like, whatever you think works the best. I've also used liquid liner, the what is it called? It's the like neon liner palette from Beats by Deb Cosmetics. I did a cut crease similar to this like a couple weeks ago that y'all will probably see maybe in a week or two. I don't know. Like, I have so many videos to edit. Like, I was ahead of the game, but now I'm kind of falling behind. Like, I'm literally recording this voiceover after 9 p.m. and I want to go to sleep. But I have to get this video out, because I told myself I'm posting every single fucking day in October, and I'm gonna try and keep up to that. I might fall off. I might have a video late or whatever, because it's districts for volleyball right now, so it's a lot of shit going on. But I'm trying to stick to my goal. But anyways, instead of even adding lash glue, I tried to like add the glitter while it was still wet, just so it can stick a little bit. But I'm literally just dipping my brush in some like glitter I have from Glam Cosmetics, and that's how I applied that glitter. You can use clear lash glue or glitter glue, but since it was still a little bit wet, I feel like it was just easier to apply like that. And I really try not to use any lash glue or like glitter glue if I don't have to use it. But anyways, I'm over here trying to mix a foundation shade, because like the green I have is okay, but I felt like it needed to be a little bit darker, since like the play pigment I used was a little bit lighter, and I didn't want it to be too close to that to where it's not too much dimension. But whenever I do my face paint looks, like, yes, I want to try to make sure my base is like as like even and opaque as possible. But what I love to do to just increase that opaqueness and stuff, I like to use these oh my god, I almost said play pigments. I love to use like the pigments from Glam Cosmetics, the neon prismatic pigments or the chalk neon prismatic pigments, and you'll see me later on do it. But basically I just use them to like set my face, and I'm not gonna lie, it just helps with the overall like makeup process when you're doing like fun looks like this. Because like if I really wanted to build up the looks to like where I want them to be, I would probably have to do 2 or 3 layers. And when it comes to me using these products, like I'm not using face paint, if that makes sense. Like this is a like long wear like matte waterproof product that's really made for smaller areas, and I'm trying to add it to a bigger area. So sometimes when you're trying to add like other liquids and creams on top, it can like really like mess up with the base. And like, you know, sometimes I've had things like, you know, like product like literally lift up and I'm trying to like cover back up. So yeah, I just try to do my like base, the concealer, and the sculpting or bronzer part or contour, and then I just do powders on top even when it comes to my blush, because yeah, some of these products, I've tried them, I've gone through it, and I'm not trying to like, you know, waste my time with a makeup look. So I know what works best, but yeah, just do whatever you feel like makes sense for you. I feel like everybody has different styles and they want their makeup to look like certain things. So, you know, I try to just do what I feel like I like. You know, how I do my makeup might not be how you want to do your makeup. Like, I don't think everybody really want to like, oh my God, I don't think everybody wants to paint their face like this, but I love it. This shit is fun, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm using that same play pigment I use for my eyeshadow base. I'm just using this to basically highlight my face, just literally following the same techniques that I use for my, like, you know, regular makeup looks. And then I go back in with that brush I use for the foundation, just blending around the edges just to make it a little bit more seamless, you feel me? And when you work with these products, I feel like it's easier for you to work in like one section at a time, like just because sometimes they will dry down, and once they dry down, like they're so hard to move, and then sometimes, you know, once again they're gonna pick up the product. So yeah, I suggest moving into like one section. I did like my under eye and I did like my cheekbones, and I feel like I didn't really have an issue with blending either one, but that's just a heads up. So I'm not gonna lie to you, Motor Brush really came through. Like once again, like, you know, I've basically like, you know, been getting brushes from them like once a month or whatever, but they sent me something like a week or two ago, and then I randomly got another package the other day, like the day before I did this, and I was so freaking happy because, baby, I was gonna have to wash my makeup brushes, and I really didn't have the energy to wash up my makeup brushes. I need to do it. Like I literally have probably like 100 or more brushes I have to wash, and I don't hate it. It's not my favorite thing to do because it's so many, and it's like, bro, I'll be like, I'm doing all these makeup looks, I'm using the fuck out these brushes, but I was so happy when I got these. Like, I literally cannot tell y'all how happy I was. And I actually love this like pro collection because I have a couple of these brushes already, so now I have duplicates, and I love to see it. And then I wanted to use something different, like, you know, that I don't normally use. So I have like this creativity like paint stick from Beast by Deb Cosmetics that I bought earlier, like in the summertime or whatever, and I wanted to use it for this, and I feel like it did a pretty good job, and I like how it layered with everything. And I didn't have like that many like makeup brushes clean, mind you, so that's why you see me using this brush, because I would never use this brush for this. Like, I mean, it's okay, it did what it needed to do, but it's just not the most like useful tool. And like, you know, I have to work a little bit harder and like, you know, be a little bit more precise, because I'm having to go back and forth because it's not a big enough brush. But it made it do. I feel like whenever like you watch my videos, like you can kind of tell when like I'm basically like, you know, working with the last brushes I have clean, because the certain brushes that, you know, good and well I do not use. Like this brush, this is a triangle like blender brush. I don't use this brush, but I needed something, so I just went ahead and used it. And then I'm just spraying my face with this like Beauty Crop, I think it's a dewy bounce spray, and I like to use a hydrating spray throughout my layers. Like whenever I put on my foundation, that's when I start spraying my face with the hydrating spray, unless I'm doing the illustration on my head, then I'll like do it every now and then. But I'm using one of the chalk neon prismatic pigments from Jellywing Cosmetics to basically like set my like highlighted areas. That's what you see me doing right here. And this is not one that I use a lot, so I was like, let me just try it. This is actually in the shade Honeydew, and I really actually like how this came out with like the final look. So yes, we love to see. And this was actually a good brush. Like, I'll put the details of like the brushes I use on my Instagram, so definitely check it out. And then check out my TikTok for like some other videos too. Just, you know, follow me on all the socials or whatever, please. Thank you. But anyways, yeah, I love sculpting the fuck out my face because I just feel like it just chef's kiss. And then I know I put a whole lot on. Like, yeah, I probably could have put a little bit less on, but you know, I just be doing whatever I do. But I'm using this bigger brush to basically set my entire face. I'm using, it might be Thea, I think, I don't know. I have a couple different greens that look similar to this, so I can't think about it. But once again, it's going to be on my Instagram. But yeah, I'm just setting my face with this green. And you see that like this green is a little bit brighter than the green that I use for like my foundation. So that's why like sometimes when it comes to me like, you know, color matching the foundation I want to create, like sometimes it doesn't really matter too much as long as it's kind of similar to the color I use to like that I'm going to use to basically set my face. So, you know, just do what you got to do, you feel me? But yeah, try to be careful around your eyebrows because I hate having to go back in and like fix my eyebrows and stuff. But also try to make sure that you have all of that like area like covered where you want that like foundation or base shade to be. And I'm just going back in with that lighter shade just to like blend everything up a little bit more and make it pop. And I decided to do the blue for my contour, and I'm basically just using this angled brush to do it. And yeah, I feel like I did a pretty good job. I probably could have blended a little bit more in certain areas, but we make it do what we do. I'm not gonna lie, one of my favorite parts of doing my makeup is if you see it every now and then, like I'll be like checking myself out in the mirror. I'll be like, yes, get face, come on, come on. I don't know, I be feeling myself, and like when I start feeling myself and feeling the look, I feel like it just comes out 10 times better because I'm like, yes, like I'm trying to go hard, like I'm trying to look snatched, and I feel like this contour, yeah, snatch the fuck out of my face. And then of course you gotta do your nose too. And I probably put a little bit too much blue, but you know, fuck it. But anyways, yeah, I use an eyeshadow brush 9 times out of 10 to like blend out my like nose contour. But this is one of the brushes that I've had already, and I got a duplicate, and I love this brush. So yes, and I'm just going back in with my foundation brush just to kind of like blend out those like areas like where I put the blue, just so it looks a little bit more seamless. And I'm just going back in with that Beauty Cup setting spray. And now we're gonna finish my eye area. So I just wanted to do the purple first. So I just took a smaller denser brush just to like blend out the purple because I don't want it to get everywhere, if that makes sense. So once I feel like it's built up, I'll just move on to the other side. I do one side at a time just because, and like go back and forth, just because mentally that's like the best thing I could do. Because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes if I just did one side first and then went back to the other side, 9 out of 10 that look is not gonna look the same because I be forgetting sometimes what I'm doing. So I need to do both of them. I need to go back and forth because that just makes more sense for me. And I just went back in with that blue just to blend out the purple a little bit, just since I used that blue over my eye or on top of my eye, I want to add it underneath my eye. I like to use the same colors I use on top underneath, and I just went back in with that purple just to make it pop a little bit more. And I got a really small really small brush to add the black. And yeah, because I knew I didn't want to add my normal like black eyeliner to my waterline. I wanted to do a pop of green because once again I was looking at one of my old like pictures, and I saw like, you know, I had like a blue like waterline and it ate. So yeah, that's what you see me doing right now. I'm taking that liner brush and I'm taking that same Color Fix in Matcha, and I'm just applying it to my waterline. I probably could have done this, you know, after I put my contacts in just to make them pop a little bit more, or like gone back over it, but you know, we do. And I tried to use this purple for a blush, and that first purple was not giving, and I just went ahead and added the other purple. And I'm not gonna lie to you, my favorite thing of doing face paints is trying to figure out how I can do blush, like, and what color I can do, because you know normally like a lot of people do like pink blush, red blush, but the purple blush, it eats, like it really does eat, and I feel like it balances everything really well. And whenever I'm doing like my makeup and stuff, I do really try to balance the colors, or balance, you know, what I have, like the dark and the light. And I don't know, like I feel like sometimes, you know, it may just look like I'm just doing stuff, but like I really do be trying to be intentional because I like my makeup to look a certain way. And y'all know I love me a highlighted nose. Like I don't know what it is, but I love when my nose looks like this. It just gives like butter nose, and it's just so cute. And I know some people don't put on this much highlighter, but I'm dramatic. Like I want that shit to be packed on. And I did go back in and do a couple different layers. This is a loose pigment from Question Beauty. This is in the shade Minted Opulence. And Question Beauty is actually a New Zealand brand, and I ordered from them a couple months ago. And it took a little second, but it wasn't too crazy. But yeah, I definitely suggest like checking out their like website and their Instagram and stuff. And yeah, I'm just lining my top line right now with a black liner. This is the Super Precise eyeliner from Essence Cosmetics. This is my go-to black liner, and it's not expensive. It's like $4, I think, so definitely recommend it. And I get it from Ulta. And yeah, I'm just drawing my moles back on too, because I always have to draw my moles on. It just adds a certain je ne sais quoi, you feel me? And I'm spraying my face with the Made by Mitchell. This is the Liquid Lock spray, and then I'm adding some rhinestones in my eyebrow slit because of course I had to like cut out my eyebrow set the day before I did this video just to make it sharper because it definitely was not being seen. And I want to add some face design, so I'm using one of these liquid like eyeshadows from About Face. I believe this is in the shade Serendipity, and I barely use the shade, so I definitely want to use it because why not? You know, I love trying to use my makeup that I don't use. That way, like, you know, I feel like I get my money's worth. And then I'm just going in with this liquid eyeshadow from Trixie Cosmetics, and it's like a bluer shade. I want to use this other purple shade, but I ran out of it. It was one of the color fix from Nesmers Beauty. I have to like restock on so many of them, but I'm gonna try to wait once again until like November just to restock because it'll be a sale, and I love a good sale because them color fix, I'm not gonna lie, them color fix are like $20. That's a little expensive. You know what I could do with $20? You know, I can get a whole fucking meal with $20. But anyways, I'm adding this purple liquid liner from Ulta Beauty just to add something else and just make it pop. Usually I don't do this much, but I don't know, I was just going for it. You know, it is Enchanted Glam, and I wanted to give like, you know, princess in a way, but like, you know, some mystical ass shit. And then I just drew an eye on my forehead because this is usually what I do. And then I just went in with some of the other colors I use. But the purple was not popping how it needed to pop. So I just outlined it with a black eyeliner just to make it stand out a little bit more. I probably could have like went back in and like really perfected this. But I don't know. Sometimes when I be doing my makeup, like it gets to a point where I'm just like, I am tired and I don't want to be doing this anymore. And I'm using my KVD full sleeve mascara. This is more of a volumizing mascara, which I love to use on my top lashes. And I probably should have coated my other eye a little bit better because I think some of the blue did pop out and you can see it when I put on my lashes, but fuck it. And then I'm just taking the REM Beauty Lengthening Mascara and I'm just going on my bottom lash line just to, you know, make my eyelashes pop out a little bit more. Like I said, you have to check yourself out when you're doing your makeup. Like, yes, don't know. But yeah, let me spray my face with this Scratch by Cat. This is a set in place spray. And I went and washed my like hands because please wash your hands before y'all put in contacts. And I'm putting in these contacts. These are the Magic Pop Blue Violet contacts from Unibling. And I feel like they just went with the look so well. I'm not gonna lie. Once y'all got me to order some contacts, like I'm telling you, like I cannot be stopped because I would definitely be ordering more because I want to do them with a lot more looks. And yeah, y'all might as well just stay ready because I feel like I've been getting more extra with my makeup looks, like literally like every now and then. Like I feel like, you know, I'll do something and then like a couple months later it's like I'm doing more than that, like I'm being even more extra. But I love to see it. But I'm using this bluish like liquid lipstick from ABH. I got it from like Marshall's like forever ago, and I'm taking this Black Moon Cosmetics liquid lipstick. It's like a purplish color and I barely use it just because, you know, I don't normally use the purple, but she ate with this and I'm just like blotting my lips together just to kind of blend them. You can use like a brush to blend it out, but this is just what I did. And then period. But now that my lashes are kind of tacky, I'm just putting them on. Like I try to make sure I hold one side first, and I do cut out a lot of footage, so I do be holding my lashes more than this, so just, you know, ignore that. But yeah, you gotta make sure they are on. That's why I put the mirror underneath my face because it helps me see if they're actually on my lash line or if they're flying away. Because girl, me and lashes, I be struggling sometimes putting on lashes, and that's why I hate putting them on clients. But you know, I have to practice and get better because I just need to. But this is like almost the final look. Yeah, it's giving. And the last thing we're doing is just adding this ultra glossy lip gloss from ColourPop from the Pokemon collection. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I just want to say I love y'all so much, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.